So yes, so we are talking about, we've gone through procurement. We'll give you an overview about procurement. Then I've got a procurement method and all that in a pre-recorded lecture. There's only 4 pre-recorded lecture for the procurement method. So this week, I will post contract type for, I think about 4, and then tendering also 4. So the total about 80 to 90 minutes worth of pre-recorded lecture that I will post up for you. Maybe over the week. I don't think I'll post it out over the weekend because I know you don't have the time to listen to it yet. So definitely by Monday or by tomorrow evening, I'll post up everything. Yes, I will let you know after I've posted up. And yes, so that will be part 3 and 4. So I've gone through part 1 in the class, part 2 as a pre-recorded. Today is supposed to do part 3 and part 4 based on pre-recorded as well. But I will spend time with you now doing your assignments, okay? Your project. Is there any one of you who wants to show me your project, especially on risk management? Can I assume that every one of you have already gone through the recording for risk management?
Yes, already.
Already, huh? Rama, definitely already lah. What about Ashraf, Johnson, Marsha, Roland, McCurry?
Yes.
Yeah, I have to go through your risk management.
Already, doctor. Already.
Yeah.
So you guys, you understand the pre-recording, all right, huh? Enough for you all to do your assignments. Can you do your assignments? Anyone wants to show me? There's only 5 groups here. The more we cepat-cepat habis, cepat-cepat kita lari, okay? Rama, your assignments on risk management or anything on cost management you want me to go through with you, because today is the last day I will have with you.
Okay, I show mine.
Good, go for it. You and Haizar, right? One team, kan?
Yeah, only both of us.
Can you see
Okay,
Richard's
you
name
can see.
here? So where's Richard? Yeah. All right.
Can you see
Ken,
my
let me
screen?
have a look. Ken, I can see your screen.
But I'm just worried on the last session you said is a risk calculation. Because I can't find any on the risk calculation.
Risk calculation, if you do it via the rubrics way, yeah, you can have it like this. It's fine. But you need to do a table, a proper table. This is the final risk matrix. We need to see a proper, yeah, risk register.
One table is about here.
Okay, right. Okay. Right. So your work, okay, this is your work breakdown structure. The risk, okay.
Do I need to follow my WBS? Because I just thinking of each activity is not organized yet.
You have to follow your WBS.
WBS. Okay. Okay, all right.
Stress and all this is actually occupational health and safety hazards, huh? But I think for surveying work, you may also have other hazards such as maybe even talking about latent conditions like ground conditions that are not correct, or the discrepancies, maybe even with it's possible also to have discrepancies with the from the drawings, from the setting up with the drawings or something like or the actual site and the actual drawings punya discrepancies in that way. Yeah, not all the time is actually accurate. No matter what you do, there will be a potential discrepancy. You see, so that is a risk.
Okay, mostly of my list just mentioned on the motor safety side.
No, actually, your risk, not only safety. I need you to talk about the work, what will be delayed. I think your main thing here is, you see, you're affecting safety. You're doing a lot of safety, but then what about time and cost? Anything that will affect time and cost, that will be more relevant, you know?
Okay.
I remember saying that in the assignment, it should be more related to time and cost. Did I say that?
Yes, sometimes you said it's related to quality.
Let me open my,
right?
wait. Let me open my assignments. I think you are so much into safety.
Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes like an OHH report kind of thing now rather than.
I try to input in some of cost and time risk.
Not try to, or you have to.
Okay, that's it.
I think you are deviating already from your project scope. Let me see. I'm trying to find my assignment now. You wait. This is a group one now. Yeah, risk identification, I bracket it very clearly, time and cost related risk. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So like the example that I gave you for the survey, that will be affecting time and cost. If the discrepancy did happen, okay, like let's say this is the boundary of the site, for example, okay, and then when you go there, you realize that it is not where it's claimed, you see. So this is actually, it will affect time, it will also affect cost, meaning that later on you need to sort out the problem by going to the land and survey car or whatever. Then cost, it may be creating some cost issues related to the boundary of the sites, for example. Yeah, something like that. So it's related to time and cost, not so much on safety. You can have it if you want to, but yes, my assignment, I want you to base it on time and cost, because you've done a time assignment with Dr. Lee, the cost is that cost project also. So yeah, more related to that. Okay.
Okay, all right. So you still need risk based on safety?
No.
Okay.
Focus on time and cost already enough to give you a headache. You don't need other things. Can I have the rest of your other, can I have like your other type of risk? Crawler
More into
overturn, is that
safety.
safety issues?
Yeah.
Yeah.
More into safety. Okay.
Okay.
Then I revise this list. I have to prepare this just like this, right? And then convert it into this chart.
Wait, you go to your risk map first, your risk strategy first. Yeah, this one. This is very important. This is your risk register center. Okay. So what you need to do here is you list down all your work breakdown, followed by the risk, okay, and then followed by action by, and followed by affecting. You see, so those that you write in the description of how to manage it now, this one should be the last category, or even not even here, because here you're just studying the risk based on likelihood and severity. So all the information should be first follow sequence of work or work breakdown structure, followed by the risk, action to be taken by who, affecting what category, and then likelihood, severity, and risk level.
Oh, this is after this one.
Yes, that is your final result from this particular section. The one that you write in the center there is actually mitigation plan already. That you either manage the risk, how you're going to manage the risk, and are you going to transfer the risk? Are you going to put in more management, put in more, manage it better, rechecking the schedule or whatever, like costs, arranging for extra costs and all that. These are all part and parcel of mitigation, not a description, not just a description of what can happen, kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, so we have one column for risk identification and one is for the mitigation plan.
Mitigation plan, I think you need to put it as a separate table completely. Mitigation plan,
different with this.
you see, your mitigation plan, you haven't even looked at your likelihood and your risk level, you haven't confirmed it, you already have mitigation plan. Does it make sense to you?
No. Okay. Understand.
So mitigation plan will come after that risk matrix thing that you do and see which of the risks is the most important one to manage first. And then these are the mitigation plan for those risks. And some risks you may just ignore because it's not that important. It may have the level of like 4.4, is it very high? Maybe it's not, you see? But 3.36 may be very, very high. It's definitely correct just to times it. You know, sometimes they use the points like 0 point something, point something. Some metrics use that. That is because they divide by 25. So it's 4 divided by 25, 6 divided by 25, because the total is 25, 5 times 5. So if you use consistently just the numbering like two times, it's always risk. So the calculation of risk is likelihood times by severity. So then that is matched towards the metrics that you are using or the metrics that you choose or the metrics that you design, you see? So the numbering has to be according to that matrix lah. As long as you're consistent, it's fine, okay? Some metrics, they go by 0 0.1, 0 0.25, 0 0.5, 0 point, 0, 0 0.5, 0 0.25, 0 0.25, 0 0.5, 0 0.75, etc., etc. So yeah, so as long as you define this severity carefully, then I think there's no issue to write like this here in your table.
Okay.
So your main issue, I don't see any problem with the rubrics. It's looking okay. I don't see any problem with the metrics. I think it's looking okay. You also have some mitigation plan, but that mitigation plan should be fitting with your, the bottom bit here that you have high, medium risk, the green thing. Is it? I think your metric just now, the one that you show me here, it looks a little bit different from what you showed me just now. The metrics, the risk map, is it?
Okay.
Remember there was this one. It doesn't look like the one that you show. Is this the same one as the one that you have in the sheet one?
I asked Haiza to convert it. We check back. Okay.
So the matrix that you claim over there should be the same as the one that you here. You see, your matrix here is green, yellow, and also red gun.
Yeah.
So the yellow looks like same lah, but the coloring is different. So then those under the red one, how do you mitigate? And those under the medium one, how do you mitigate? And those under the green one, how do you mitigate? Here you've got a general plan for mitigation, but then based on the risk itself under this category, it's better to have a more specific mitigation plan now.
Okay. Right after I prepare my matrix, then I come out with my mitigation.
Boleh, can. So quite urgent already lah, this one. I will try to give you guys up to the second lah, or if you really don't, I really don't mind also that I can give you up to maybe fourth of I know it's going to affect Hari Raya, but I'm sure those people who are celebrating Raya, you'll be very, very hardworking in the next week, try to finish this thing up and hand it in to me earlier. Up to you. But those who are not celebrating Raya because it's a public holiday for you, so you want to spend time working on the assignment, I'm also fine with that. So maybe we will set the handing in date for the 4th of May.
Okay, Doctor. Yeah.
Would that be all right for everybody? I mean, if you finish early, you want to hand in early, is fine. I will just set the deadline as the 4th of May to give people who are not celebrating some room to move in that way. I know a lot of you have a lot of assignments to hand in last minute already.
Okay, it's on 4th.
And especially for those RM people, I don't want to scare them off because Dr. Charles just came in the class and I'm sure he's giving you guys assignment is 30% again. Some of you know how you need to score in RM already. If you don't score in RM, you probably fail your whole SEM 1. And those of you who are doing three subjects plus RP, I think you all are also quite bogged down by other subjects in your assignments. So okay, so let's set as fourth law. So Rama, your main problem is you got the risk identification a bit haywire, and the arrangement of the table is a little bit haywire. And double check with your metrics with your mitigation plans. Okay, so you don't have a mitigation plan like without considering your metrics. That doesn't make sense. Why are you doing risk management if you're not even consulting your metrics? You see?
Okay.
You really want to have so many plans and so many steps to mitigate, whereby some of these risks is maybe just in a green area that you may want to just ignore it completely, even, you know.
And the mitigation plan had to describe based on each category?
It's have to be describing based on these three categories, yes.
Okay.
And then if you want to describe even based on some specific risks that you really want to manage, yes, you can also. It's better even. I'd love to see a good mitigation plan, not just something that, you know, you gosok, goreng, macam tu, you know.
Okay.
Anything
Okay,
else?
Doctor, we'll
you
look into that. No,
Hmm.
no. It's clear.
Okay. So Haiza, you know the problem, Haiza?
Yes, doctor. Also, I have a question about the risk level. Do we need to divide with 25 or just remain it as it is?
Depending on your metrics. If your matrix is using the points one, you need to divide. If your matrix is not using the points one, no need.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up, Shelley. No, Shelley,
Yes, doctor.
you want to show me your work?
Yeah, maybe I'll show you our report outline first.
Sorry?
Maybe we will show you our report outline first.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, a bit small, but yeah, I can still see. Okay.
For the risk management part, not really sure how to relate it to the time and cost. This is the draft that we did
Okay.
for risk management part.
So now
And
in your risk identification, okay, so where is your, you see, you're not doing the right thing already. You're also like simply just putting some event only. And then a lot of you like to think of risk as safety hazards, and which is not right. Risk covers so many things, you know, it covers time, it covers, you know, anything, any event that can happen to cause delay in schedule, any event that can happen to create additional budget or variation, any event that can cause performance to drop, performance of the work to drop. And safety hazard is only one small part. And usually we don't put it under risk management plan because they have their own, each has their own hazard hazard mitigation or hazard plan, you know, or what they call the OHS plan under the OHS officers. You see, so we don't even bother with risk management. We don't even bother with safety. You see, in my notes, you can see that under the category of risk, there's going to be contractual risk, time risk, which is schedule risk, budget or cost risk, financial risk, and then we also have operation and performance kind of risk. Okay, and contract kind of risk. So we've got a few types of risk. We never mentioned safety risk, you know. So you guys are like concentrating too much on the safety part already. You're almost like doing an OHS report.
Yeah, we in practice we used to do this risk in safety. This one.
I don't know. I guess it's just very instinctively you think, oh, risk. Must be people dying, accidents, you know, your check just goes to that kind of thing, you see. But yeah, the main thing is same as Rama. I think you go to your risk identification. So you describe your risk identification based on what kind of risk that we are going to be relating to, what can cause what events that can cause a time to go overrun, what event that can cause a budget overrun, you see. So then from there, you identify the risk according to your work breakdown structure.
Okay. Because can you see the Excel file?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, what I did, same as Rama, I just list the words like down without following the WBS, and then the hazard identifications,
Correct.
and then the risk assessment. But I'm not sure how to relate it with the time and cost, so I just add another column for the time taken and the expenditure of it. I'm not sure, is it
No. What you
thing
do is
that
this is like that, okay? Let me
okay.
explain. I think this is going to be something that it's good to explain that because it's part of the notes as well, meaning that you didn't fully understand. So with the hazards you list out, let's say machinery broke down, okay? Unexpected machinery broke down, all right? So that will affect what? That will affect the schedule, okay? So that will cause work to stop on site because if that is one of the major machinery breakdown, like crane, for example, or piling rigs, for example, okay? Or the piles of broke, for example, you know, like let's say in piling work, so you need to pick events, you know, you need to think about events that can cause your schedule to be delayed, or you need an extra money to go and repair and to bring in more materials or to buy earlier, so have any financial implication. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So you need to take those risks. Don't use the word hazard. Hazard are always for safety. This is all for chemical kind of things. We call it hazard. So use the word risk. So what kind of events according to your work breakdown? Sometimes you only have one or two events that you think is very critical. I think the other way is to go backwards and ask yourself that in your experience on site, under this sort of work, what are the events that had happened before that causes you need to change your schedule, that cause a delay, or that cause you to put in additional money or additional cost to improve the situation. So those are the risks that you need to identify, Cherry.
Yeah.
Right? So after you identify those risks, don't talk about how long that it will take to delay, how much money that it will be taken and all that. Don't worry about it first, okay? So what you need to do is to say that, okay, this risk may happen, okay? And then, yes, you can write consequences as in consequences will be, what does it affect? Like the category, is it going to be delay or budget overrun, for example, okay, or additional cost or variation, this kind of thing. So you can put it under like what I told Rama just now. It's always about, I've already fixed you guys to that, you see? So I don't need you to go and think about other things. Just only think about delays and costs. So these are the two consequences that you're going to have. So under that consequences, you just have to put down, you need to think whether this is going to cause delay or this is going to cause money implication, or you can take two of them if you want to, okay? Or maybe if there's other words that you can put is, let's say, variation, it's under delays, I mean, it's under cost, let's say if you're talking about schedule overrun, or then that is under the under time, so depending on how you categorize it, but the effect is on time and cost, that's for sure.
Okay.
Then after that, when you're doing your 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, that kind of thing, your severity and likelihood, you need to determine the rubrics first. Okay, so what is your rubrics?
Is it something like this?
The rubrics is that one, the upper one, 1 to 5.
This one.
Yes. So in terms of your time rubrics, you need to hear maybe most likely is most likely to happen now. So this rubric is still okay. But the consequences rubric for time, it may be written as negligible can be affecting schedule by less than 5%. Minor can be affecting the schedule between 5 to 15% or 5 to 10%.
Okay.
You see, then you can say major, not serious. Serious is, it sounds like very bad. Actually, I think fatal and catastrophic is the same thing. So you either use fatal, fatal is really dead, really die one, you know. So maybe if you take out either catastrophic or use the word fatal or use catastrophic but take out fatal. So catastrophic can be anything above 80% of your schedule, you see? So then you need to
But
find
this
ways
rubric
to,
is from
huh?
Doctor. But this
Sorry?
rubric is taken from DOSH.
It's
Of
because you guys are
catastrophic and
doing it
fatal.
with safety. I don't want safety.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you do a time, you need to do a time rubrics lah, kan?
Yes.
Okay. There's no specific in other guidelines.
More specific, then you have to find way to divide your that one more may use the what we call there's a method there. What's the method? Suddenly I forgot the name. No, it's not RI, something else. What's the name of that thing? There's this zeros to something, you know, there's this. I was using in my research, but suddenly I couldn't remember what to say. You can break it down, like a scale. You can base it on like a scale if you want to.
Okay.
Like a scale has like 0 to 20, you know, and then 21 to 40, 41 to 60, 61 to 80, and then above 80 kind of thing. So yeah, you pick a scale and then you can modify that to the delay, the impact that it has on your schedule. But obviously, it doesn't have to be a very specific standards because when you're doing risk analysis, it's for your own project. What is acceptable to you? What is negligible to your project team? So if it's 5%, like let's say if it's a 3 months, 30 days, 5% is 1.5 days, correct or not?
Yeah.
Is that negligible? If a delay that comes in 1.5 days is negligible, then 5% is negligible. Then you work your scale up. What is catastrophic? If the catastrophic is anything above 75% is catastrophic for you, that means that you double your schedule more than half. 30 days becomes almost a double, like becomes already like a 50 days delay kind of thing, then that is catastrophic. So then in between that 75 to 5, they divide equally according to the scales of what is major, minor, and serious law, for example.
Okay.
Same goes with cost law. What is considered as, it's better if you have literature, it's better if you have a scale to refer to, definitely. But you can actually modify your scale from literature, like Likert scales and all that.
Okay.
So then, because based on that consequences, when you put 1, that means most likely your schedule will be less than 5% of effects. And then likelihood of it happening is most likely that it's 5. So 1 times 5 is 5. So this one will affect your schedule by it's in the green area maybe. So how do you want to manage that risk? Do you really want to manage that risk? Do you need to manage that risk? Because it's time risk, so you need to write in the area of time risk. You understand?
Yeah. Okay.
So Shirley, you're done already, is it?
Yeah, that's the part that I'm not really sure about on the
Okay.
risk. Yeah.
So Nick, you need to sit down with the rest of your team. Ngo and Shikin, is it? Oh no, Shikin is with someone else.
Yeah, we in group.
In a group. So the three of you need to sit down, especially like you, Shelley, you're from developer and contractor, and Mo, you're from like government agency, you know, and then Shikin, of course, she has not much of experience, maybe we can leave some calculation to her. But the two of you are from site, you know, like working as an experienced engineer. You know a lot of things that can happen, you know, that can create a delay in your schedule. So brainstorm together. You sit down and brainstorm together. What are the things that can happen in each and every one of your work? Some of them can be repeated because it is more or less the same thing, you know?
Yeah. Correct.
Like maybe some work are very much totally affected by weather, you know?
Yeah, weather is the one that always causing the delay.
Correct. And then or the flood or maybe certain time of the year, because your schedule that you look at, you know, the project now, your schedule actually it happens in December. You know, this work is in December, this work is in this work is in maybe January, February, November. There's a very heavy rainfall or a very high chance of flooding and all that. So then this is your site. So then you may put that kind of risk because in that particular work, you know, because it happens during that particular time. So risk doesn't have to be like very dead like that, you know. I just have to identify a few risks, you know, because it can be based on your schedule, it can be based on the time of your schedule, you know, it can also be based on economic issues surrounding the world, surrounding the world now, like material price increase. Like maybe some of your work, you haven't ordered the material yet, then you may have risk that certain of the material like steel bars and all that have price increase, you see? Yeah. So as your risk identification is of some basis, it's not like simply pull things out from the air. Okay, so you look at work breakdown structure, the where the schedules are, and also the timing of the work and all that, and then you try to define the risk that way lah. And some of them can be your own very practical experience that, you know, what have happened before on your site. You see, and then you just go from there to see if that will apply. So you just brainstorm, basically you put it down, and then later on you can mark it with your likelihood and your that one, and the other one are your consequences. And the consequences one, there's a few areas that we can look at as well, like consequences, like maybe you can even look at your critical path. If any of the activity are actually on your critical path, that means that the consequences that the likelihood of this thing happening, you may have to put very high so that you can bring your number up a bit higher, because those are actually critical activity and you absolutely cannot delay them lah. So you have to give it you have to give it a thought, you know, like when you mark those number, likelihood and consequences, you need to first of all determine the scale, and then the reason why you want to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then use, you know, set your own guidelines in the report. This is how you mark 1, this is how you mark 2, this is how you mark 3, mark 4 and 5, like that. Then it's your project. I cannot say it's wrong, you see. So once this is done and your metric is calculated already, then you know where is all the risk in the green areas. So you can actually highlight your table, you know, those are the green ones, and this is the one that you will ignore completely because these activities are not on the critical path, it is not urgent, and then these are not important things, but in terms of cost, we will need to manage them. You see, like that's how you write, and that's how we will your logic flow, and you know how you get marks in that sense.
Yeah.
So you need to address your mitigation plan, like Rama, same thing. You need to address your mitigation plans in terms of time. You need to address also your mitigation plan in terms of cost. And not every action will have cost and time, you see. But normally when you have delay, the cost will be affected lah. But not all cost items will have delays also lah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The elements of risk is this. The basis of it is what we have given you, you know, like you need to do consequences, likelihood, identifications, and then analysis. After analysis, you need to put them in the different risk metrics, and then from there do the mitigation plan. This is the basic fundamental of risk management. But from project to project, from manager to manager, from different individual to different individual, your risk identification can be very different. And also your project, from project, when you're doing road project compared to if you're doing building project, like for example, painting work. Does weather affect painting work? Obviously, it doesn't affect painting work, but if painting work on like mixture or painting work on the civil work project, it will be affected by weather, you see? So your risk identification and your risk match, your risk rubrics, these things, and then how you define your 1 to 5 in your report writing, the logic must be very clear. How do you assess your risk? On what criteria do you assess your risk on? Schedule, normally we will assess it based on critical path. That definitely, because the impact will be very high. The consequences will be very high if this is on critical path. See? And then if some of the risks actually have implication because it's actually it may be actually running, like there's few activities going on at the same time, then so this risk become not so important because or the risk is actually the risk is actually like problems of the contractor, so it's going to be very difficult to attend EOT. So then therefore this is then the risk will be considered as a more critical risk compared to like a higher number risk compared to the other risk lah, you see. So again, the nature of the risk, you need to look at how you are going to see what is considered as high. But of course, the most basic, the most 101 way is to just use the numbers of the delays that it may cause, numbers of days of delays it may cause. So that again can be a measurement of seriousness. But that measurement of seriousness, whatever you write in the middle of the rubrics, can come in few directions when you put in the numbers later. Confusing you guys more, or am I like making things clearer? Personally, I'm confusing you guys more. Okay. Can you think about it? Shirley, can you think about what I've just said, and then I'll move on to Johnson, their offers, and then if you have any other questions, we can come back to you later, huh?
Sure, thank you.
Okay, Johnson, Bakari, and Richard.
Can you hear me, Doctor?
Yeah. Yes, Johnson, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm in the same group with Macri and Richard, and they are a bit preoccupied today, so I'll be showing on behalf of our group. Okay, let me scroll down. So the risk.
Cost-wise, I've sort of see you scrolling that I've seen some justification calculation going on up there.
Yeah. We have the calculation for every resources.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'll see how you present later and then give you the marks. Right
okay.
now.
Yeah. So we'll emphasize on the risk part. So in terms of the risk, we will allocate it into several categories based on technical, financial, management, contractual, schedule, and operational performance tasks. Then we allocate the activities into the relevant category. So basically, all these activities are from our WTS, and we allocate it into the categories based on these few categories. And then once we allocate into these categories, then we perform the risk analysis for those categories, and then we obtain the scores, the risk score. So this matrix basically explains the score in terms of the severity of the risk. And yeah, this basically explain the level of the risk based on the colors from the matrix above.
Yeah. Okay.
So and then based on because we already obtained the level of the risk, So we have the mitigation plans for the individual categories lah. So
Okay.
that's basically how we perform our risk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I know what you're doing already. All right,
Yes,
basically
yes.
the steps that you have done is not wrong. Everything is correct. You know, you go from risk identifications, you go from the risk category to risk identifications, and also all the way down to risk matrices. So those are all not wrong. But your problem
Yes.
is you've already got the idea of the category of risk wrong. Meaning that
Oh.
technical, financial, management, contractual, schedule, operation, they're just category of risk. And today I've got you guys to focus on just the financial and schedule risk. The rest of the other risks, I am not putting any effort onto it. I'm not getting you guys to put anything onto it. Okay? So now
So
you've already got it the balik. These are not your risk. These are only your category of risk. Okay? Your risk
yes.
is that. Can you go to the schedule? Can you go down to the schedule risk?
Schedule.
Yeah.
Which
Okay.
one? This one. Okay.
No, one, no. Yeah. The specific task cannot be continued. Who risk is that? You see?
Mm.
Be your risk, not your schedule. So you have to list down events that can happen that will cause your schedule to be affected. So your main problem, your group main problem is you've got your two things terbalik. You need to go to your work breakdown structure, look at all your work, and then list down all the risks that are related to schedule and related to your money. And then do a risk assessment. You are picking and saying, okay, schedule risk, you only come up with one activity that can affect the schedule.
In terms of risk
Risk
identification, should
assessment.
we do it based on the activities in level 3 or level 2? Because level 3, there's a lot of activities. I think there's like more than almost like, I don't know, like 30, 40.
So you can use level 2, but use your level 3 as some, like you can pick, you can go something that can go wrong in one of your level lah, basically lah. I mean, like you can use the guideline as level 2 as one of the guidelines.
Okay, noted.
The risk can happen in any of the level 3 activity, is fine.
Okay.
So you know what I mean about why you're wrong here?
Yeah, I think so.
Because technical risk is not your risk event, you know. You need to come up with hardcore risk event, proper risk event.
Okay,
So
doctor,
just
we
focus
will
on
revise it
financial
accordingly.
schedule.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, thank you for giving us guidelines. So later on we will redo.
Like the thing that you
Okay.
guys are writing here are very general, you know, it's like only one category, one risk. So your whole project
Okay.
only have these sort of things happen, that can only happen, ga. I don't believe, I mean, like McCurry, you are a very experienced engineer. Don't tell me that this is the only thing that you can think of, you know? So Johnson and Richard, maybe, you know, you guys are fresh graduates, so maybe you don't have that much site experience, but yeah, I mean, like with people with good site experience, you'll be able to calculate, I mean, you'll be able to see what can happen. Inaccurate cost estimation, is it a risk?
Yeah.
So in the first place, you already planned that your cost estimation is wrong already? So a risk event for financial could be like, say, site condition, you know, site condition that is different from the drawings. Unexpected, unforeseen events. These are risks. How can an inaccurate cost estimation be a risk? I'm supposed to come up with a good estimation, an accurate estimation before you even do it. I mean, before you even start work, you see. So what can cause inaccurate? But you can go down the direction. What can cause inaccurate cost estimation? Discrepancy in drawings, errors in designs, omissions in drawings that can cause a inaccuracy in drawings. Okay? inadequate material, sent. Okay. What procedures some people accidentally carrying out wrong procedures, maybe. These are the things that can cause inaccuracy in your original estimation. So inaccuracy in your original contribution is only a consequences. It's not a risk, you see. Something that causes inaccurate estimation means that it will affect the final budget. And that is what we call a financial risk. So yes, obviously, I think all of you here has problem understanding what is identification of risk, which is very, very basic. And you guys can understand how to do risk matrix. That one, I see that none of you have had any problem so far on that matter. But all of you seems to be completely lost when it comes to risk identification. Risk is events that can happen, that is unforeseen, that may not necessarily happen, but there is a chance of it happening that can cause some form of negative impact. And that negative impact can come from, that can be in operation, that can be in contract, that can be in schedule, that can be in performance, that can be in operation, for example. So that is what we meant by category of risk. Again, if this question comes up in exam, people like Johnson, McCurry, and Richard will have failed, because when I ask you to identify risk, you give me these 6 technical and these 6 risk category, immediately the rest of the answer are all wrong already. And that is 10 marks, 15 marks, we've gone already. You need to differentiate. That 6 is category. That 6 things are just category of risk. What can the risk impact? Understand? But risk identifications are those items, those things, those events, like maybe unforeseen or inclement weather is one of the risks, isn't it? Like let's say if you're doing a wharf project or water river related project or bridge project, then maybe some form of natural types that so happens to be happening in that year, that during the time of your project can happen, you see, that can create an impact on your schedule, and that can create an impact on your performance, that can create an impact on your finance. So you need to identify those risks first and only stick to 2 risk categories, that is financial and schedule. That's all I need. Because if I get you to do random, like all these 6, I think your risk identification is going to be so many. And then you need to do 6 metrics, Performance also have performance metrics. Contract also have contract also have contract rubrics. Performance also have performance rubrics. Operation also have operation rubrics, you see. Schedule also have. I think your writing here will probably be 100 over pages for your report, and you haven't finished yet.
Okay, doctor, we will revise it.
Johnson, do you understand, Johnson?
Yeah, we will revise it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Richard, you understand or not? Richard, he seems to be in and out just now.
Yeah, I understand.
So this is the mistake that you guys are making a lot in my undergraduate studies. When I ask to identify 6 potential risks, or I just identify 5 potential risks, and everybody go and write performance risk, technical risk, whatever risk. So again, these are that category of risk is basically when that event happens, it can affect that category. That's what we try to get you guys to focus on, so that you have a guideline on risk identification. Otherwise, it's too open, you know, you can just write anything, you know.
Doctor, I'll go next.
Okay, who? Who are you?
Ifan.
Afan, yeah, go ahead. So Afan, we are with Ashraf and
And
Zulkarnain, right?
yeah.
Okay, go ahead. And last one is Roland's group, huh?
Okay, doctor. Yeah.
I'm actually very happy that I actually do this with you guys. I can detect so much problem. Okay.
This one is our risk identification and risk assessment, but then we only get to manage to list down all the risk event, the risk trigger, and the probability based on our metrics and our
Rubrics,
categories.
rubrics. Okay, so this is the rubrics, more
Yeah.
certainly happening, you know, so you have some percentage here, Okay,
Yeah.
now I think the same problem with your group also I can see already. You go to your group assignment, or the wherever you your drop list. You see the main problem is you guys just don't read the instructions of mine. You go to your drop list.
Drop list here. Yeah.
Are you in a drop list already? Or
Yeah,
where
drop
is
list
the
here.
part that you show me that thing just now? The
risk.
no. Group assignment.
The assignment, yeah. This one.
So you can see, risk category. So this approval process is actually considered as maybe operation. Okay.
Okay.
Operation risk. So I'm not getting you guys to do operation risk. So your risk category, you only need to limit to schedule and finance.
Schedule and finance. Okay.
So what is your event? So do you have any schedule or anything? Okay, impact is project delay, cost implication. All right, now go to your this one, the one that is on setting up. Can you go and have a look at? Can you scroll down a little bit?
Sorry.
Okay, setting outward were not done properly and accurately. This is a risk event, but you cannot write like this. You see? Why are you telling the client? I'm the client. You're telling me that you don't plan to do your work properly.
So
yes, this is something that can happen on site. I know.
Yeah.
The way that you word it, the way that you write it, you see, is actually not right. You know, you don't want to make it seem like you're already aiming to not do the work properly and accurately. So it must be an event that is unforeseen. You know, like sort of like you kind of can happen before, but you're not sure that whether it will happen for your project as well. For example, setting outward, like I say.
What should we write? Like setting outward, just like that. Setting outward. No.
No. You have to write the event that is related to setting out. What can happen in setting outward that cause the work to be not properly done? Can you brainstorm now?
But only for this part lah, doctor.
Every one of them is wrong already that you're doing here. It's not the problem. Never. I mean, like, the group now is really your risk identification that is the problem. For example, piling now. What can go wrong? The pile broke, right? Correct now.
Yeah. Pile broke. Down.
Yeah. So if the pile broke, so that is an event, correct? Not broken piles. Yeah, damage or broken piles. Okay, so this is really a right event, damage or broken pile upon piling.
Okay, so just write it like this lah, more or less.
Yes.
Okay.
And then that is related to that it will cause. Of course, we all know that it will cause performance problem now, So then this one will impact what? It will impact the schedule, correct now? It will impact also the cost because we may need to pile another one down or pile another one next to it. You see, we may need to enlarge the pile cap, correct now?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So then this could happen, but it's not something that you purposely go and do, you see. It may happen, you see.
It's possible to happen.
Yes, it's possible to happen. So what happened is, does this happen? So under that piling or foundation, under your work breakdown, this is maybe under piling or foundation. No, this is one of the event. So the category of risk is schedule. The category of risk is finance.
Oh, okay. Category. Okay.
Ah.
Understand.
And then the trigger of it, you can put it there. Yes, trigger can be labor, not handling it properly, or the pile or the original material that comes is not up to standard, maybe, you know. So these are the trigger. Why you write trigger? Because you write trigger so that you want to remind yourself later on that
What
when
can
you
cause?
give marks for the likelihood, then you may want to see the trigger to see whether the likelihood is high or rare, you see?
Yes.
And then the impact, of course, is you may want to use the category of critical activity, you know, whether this thing is on the critical activity or the amount of delay that it may cause, you see, so as an impact. So then this one will typically affect the project by double the time, or maybe usually it will affect the project by 10%, 20% of the schedule, you know. Then after that, then you can determine whatever that you're writing here will help you to, to have this column here is good because it will help to define your logic when you put possible, moderate, significant, rare, macam tu, you know.
Yes. Understand.
Understand, huh? But
Yes,
this
understand.
one here, then later on you put here possible, you know, in the light yellow one, then you put possible. But this possible, I want you to have some basis lah, kan? So then you can use the trigger, cause, and impact here to describe your probability and impact, lah.
Okay.
And this trigger and probability and impact, you have to sort of like tally it also with your risk evaluation, your job list, lor.
Job list evaluation, yeah.
Job list here, lor. Because when you put like P5, right? You need to describe your P5, ma. And this description that you have for P5, P4, P2, P3, try to tally that with whatever that you're writing here in risk, trigger, cause, and impact. Jangan sini tulis one thing, there tulis one thing, you know?
Okay, understand.
You understand, huh? So the risk category, you only need to put in your schedule and also the finance.
Okay, schedule and finance. And rewrite our risk event lah, Doctor. Rewrite our risk event lah.
Yes, based on your work breakdown structure.
Okay.
And then also this external controllable. This thing here, do you also have internal controllable, external uncontrollable, internal uncontrollable? If you have it, then if you have got different category like this, then maybe you can put it there, huh? Or instead of writing this, you can write sources of risk, meaning that the sources is external or internal.
Okay.
And these response strategies and all that, it will come after you already determine whether it's a MLH, you see?
This one we can write down after we found out what we have here lah, Doctor.
Yes. Like, do you want to manage it? You can write overall or you can write very specific also can lah. Your layout is nice. It's good. Okay, it's good. I like it. Okay, but the risk identification, event, and description is a bit off.
Okay.
Category also a bit off. risk type, don't use the word risk type, use the word sources of risk is better. Otherwise, it macam like very confusing, like what are you talking about here, risk type, you know?
Okay, understand.
Because risk type and risk category sounds the same. So it better be sources. Where does it come from?
External or internal?
Whether it's internally from your own organization or among your own parties, external can be like weather, flooding, pandemic, all these things are external, labor strikes, or shortage of labors, these are all external.
Right.
Prices increase in materials, these are all external. Internal one would be like your own, you know, like maybe your contractor punya handling, you know, your design, your arrow, you know, the arrow of the designer in doing maybe ordering variation, that sort of things can all be part of the risky events.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, Irfan.
Right. Sure.
Good. I mean, it looks good to me. It's just that needs a bit of direction. Need to point you in the right direction. Okay.
Okay. All right. Sure. Thank
Again,
you.
remember, use this risk, trigger, cause, and impact as a description for you to prove to me that why I want to put P3 or C2. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when you write for the impact, try to tally that with the risk evaluation metrics, the rubrics. How do you define possible? How do you define minor? You do that in the risk evaluation matrix, kan?
Yes, correct.
Then from there, when you write the impact here, you just write things like it will delay the schedule by approximately 10%. You see then you put minor, for example.
Okay. So just write out a bit of description like that.
Yeah, something to remind you that why you want to choose the
A minor. Okay.
The trigger, of course, you can write like late approval reasons, but then it's like then you write it there so that you can say that okay, does that mean that this will possibly happen, or maybe it's not possible? Then again try to relate back with your metrics as well. Whatever standard that you put in the metrics has to be reflected here, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Right, very good. I think this is very fruitful in a way, huh?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Roland, your group.
I'll stop sharing now, huh?
Okay.
Are you also having the same problem, huh? After seeing everybody's report, I think you all will be like, oh, we're all making the same problem.
Okay, doctor. I share sedikit lah because this one I using the format of the government tempat. Don't know whether this one suit you or not. That I share first. This is the the list of register of company risk management. We have not been because this site is discovered by Marshall. So Marshall knows most of the event here but we have listed few like the kelewatan masuk tapak because this project is in existing school, so they need to move the student first before they can possess the site. So this is some of the planning phase Second one is the JCAR approval, because why this is a project under summer design and build, so they need to see the drawing approved first before they can start construction. But the duration of construction is included with the design. So this one they need, because the JKR is there's so many departments, they have to send here in the Cebu, then send again to Kuching, then this a process So we're expecting there's some delay about this one, the design phase. After that, there's the procurement phase. We expecting there will be a delay on the payment of because normally government by the end of the year they always close the account of on November. They only open in the February after, so they need to this is a risk to the contractor So and also the price riba hike also.
Okay, Roland, I've already got the gist of your thing here. You guys are the only one that kind of like got the risk event correct, huh? That's good news. I have very little comment here. I have very little comment. You see, like operation of existing school, or this JKR approval, all these are events. Definitely. You are right already. Okay? You're doing the right thing already. Now, my only comment is, this is the risk event. Okay, so you change that risk reference, REF, to risk event, and the risk description is your risk category. So you have already put here, kelewatan memberi masuk tapak, this is the handing over of the site. Okay, so you convert that to English lah, issues with site possession is one of the risks for this particular project. It can happen. Not that you purposely plan to masuk lewat, but then it's because of some project, like let's say, dealing with our Sabah and Sarawak punya NCR land, sometimes you do have problem and issues with site possession, you see. So this one definitely will affect the time, the schedule. You understand?
Yes, doctor.
So this
This one,
correct
Dr. Follow, there's a few form I need to show you. This is only the register. I'll show you another one. After this one, the detailed one will be on the other form. I'll show you the other form.
Yeah, I think the risk events, I am not worried. Just tapis it out. Those that is more related to time and cost, you leave it there.
This one. This is in the BM format lah. You saw this one? Template for analysis risiko. Can you see this one? Oh, you want me to reshare balik? Ya apa? Reshare balik. Template for. This is where the detail comes in lah. What is the risk event? Okay, but this is in Malay lah. I think I will put it because this is a government templates lah on the risk management. So delay, then what is the event lah? What is happening to the risk, and then there's a risk number, and also what happened lah. Then indemnification. So from here, this is the second template that we're going to use. After this, there's another template which is the this one, the one with the numbers of how much is the analysis. But this one have not been done because we have not finished the discussion on what and how and where is the event happening and what is the complication, doctor. So we're still in the process of it lah.
No need so complicated lah. This is government template. You don't have to show it to us. You don't have to show it to me or anybody. Okay, so you just have to leave it. I mean, like, just pick up some ideas and clues from there. But the main thing that you need to hand in to me is the original template that you showed me just now.
Oh, the register and also the calculation.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll do that. I'll reshare back then. Stop sharing first. So I don't need to put so detailed, doctor. I just put the detailed one is in this one lah. This Excel.
Okay.
Process
So the rest of you, can you see what we're talking about risk events? These are risk events, material production, because for a specific project, maybe you have really, like, let's say if my pipeline is 600 mm, and then you know for sure that your project is only given like maybe 12 months, you see, and it's like a 20 kilometer, 6 km kind of pipeline. I mean, like 600 mm pipeline, that would need very, very big lead time in material production. So this could be your risk, So it's you purposely want to delay, but there is a chance that it may not be produced so fast, you see, because of the size. It's not something that you can get off the shelf from the material manufacturer, because it's actually odd sizes, you see. And let's say you're dealing with IBS or drain IBS pre-cast drains, for example. You see, these let's say your project is very specific, certain sizes. So obviously, isn't there is a chance that this manufacturer, even though they tell you that this is the time that they need, there may be a chance that because this is a very special site, you may have potential of material delays, in delivery. But it doesn't happen in all the projects. And it's not like you purposely want to say material delivery as a problem. Like if this is just a general project with normal grade 25 concrete cast in situ, and then you go and write material delay, then that means the client will look at you and say that ayo, you purposely want to delay material. You know, that is what I mean by your risk identification has to be project by project basis. Okay? And you know, we have to be very careful in identifying the risk based on our project, not just generally throwing in things like I said, weather. If you talk about painting, you know, if let's say I'm painting in a civil work project, I'm painting bridges, I'm painting types of pots, all these things are done in the open, so I'm more worried about weather. About you know my paint quality and all that, compared to I'm building a house. I mean, I'm building some 3 stories or 5 stories apartment, because painting is done in the internal, isn't it? So even if it's raining, you go and put there weather, of course it doesn't make sense, kan? So it has to be project. So Roland, you guys are doing a good job, but then you just have to be try to make more sense. Like, yes, JKR approval, or you don't put the word JKR approval, say approval of client, and this is there. You have to know this is there because of what reason. Is it because of the causes? The reason why it's there, is it? Because is this a design and build project, or is it a project that is not even confirmed yet, but they already want a contractor to go and work? You see, so there will be a good chance that because the design has not been confirmed, or is this the design and build project, they will still need time for JKR to do the approval, or the client to do the approval, or the authority to do the approval. So then it makes sense to be here if this is a design and build project for some reason, to make sure that you can verify why this particular risk is there, you see? So then once that is done, you can have risk description. Maybe it will be more on, this is more on risk category. It will affect the time by how much, or it will affect the schedule, it will cause a delay, or it will cause a cost overrun, it will cause a increase in pricing, so it will cause a fluctuation in price. So that is causes, you see? But if you want to describe your event, then it has to be delay inside possession. Then you describe your event, like what is the trigger kind of thing, you know, of why you put it here. Because this is a civil work going through NCR land, for example, or native land. See? Then under this risk, I think it's better to put risk event and then risk description to describe why this risk is here, okay, in your project, and then the risk category, okay, and then baru where the causes are. So after you describe these 4 things, then you can easily prove to us that why you put 2 or 1 or impact, you know, like 1, 2, 3. You see?
Okay, doctor. Can, because I already submit this one, kan? Everything I put here lah. Because I have few so-called form, but I think I put everything here lah.
Hello, you put everything here. I think if let's say you do that, and then you got like 50 risk event, then you need to give me 50 pages of those form. I think your report will be mile high.
Okay, doctor. I consolidate into one.
Yeah, what if you want to put, you can put it in your report. In your report as a guideline of how you arrive at this thing.
Oh, 1 or 2 only lah, kan? Maybe 1 or 2 just a sample for you to. Okay, boleh,
maximum 3. Yeah, maximum 3.
Correct, doctor. Okay. We put something. Yeah.
So the other thing that I want to comment is the second thing that I can comment. I mean, I'm very happy. At least 5 group here. One group got my, I'm very happy. That's why I stopped you immediately, because I'm happy. Because at least you got your risk event correct. All right?
Okay, doctor.
The other thing I want to comment is because supposed to be, it's better to base your risk event on the work breakdown structure. So I would rather you take all these risks now because it's doing the balik kind of thing. By right, you're supposed to go to your work breakdown structure and you look at all the different type of risks there, like maybe it's planning, maybe it's procurement, all these things. Then you punch it in first. You do that identification first before you transfer onto this list. So I prefer that you do your work breakdown, do your risk identification, and then transfer it, like you transfer and summarize into whatever that you show me just now. I think that is also possible.
Okay, doctor. Can.
That will make more sense of how you come up with that list of risks. So meaning that whatever that you show me just now, that particular table is already like a summary after you've done your work breakdown structure with the risk identification.
Okay.
Okay, so I need you to do that extra one step under the risk identification. You show your work breakdown plus your risk identification. And then you say that, okay, we take out all the risks now and summarize them into different segments, like different phases of the project. And analyze it accordingly. And then your project will make more sense. I mean, like, it makes more sense for you, I mean, for me to look at your project, But not everybody has to follow that format. You guys can just directly go for the work breakdown and directly calculate your, likelihood and everything just like that. It's fine also. Just that I see that, Roland, you've already done it with the different phases of the project. So I need you to go backwards and try to identify it with regards to the work breakdown. So that you don't miss out on anything, that kind of thing.
Okay, doctor. Understood.
Understood that?
Yeah.
And now I think everybody knows how to do the risk table and everything already. Risk register. It's fine. I think Johnson group, Shelley's group, all know what to do. Rama's group, but it's just that most of you have a risk identification problem except for Roland's group. So maybe you guys just now pick on his risk identification. You already get some ideas of what risk identification already. Then put it in a different category and then put it with a different justification and different level of causes. And that causes and justification and all that has to be more related to your metrics later. You need to relate it back to metrics. Otherwise, you tick 3, I ask you why you tick 3, you don't know how to answer. Why you tick 1 for impact, then you don't know how to answer. So this is the part that you need to have answer. I think some of you here already have ways, like Irfan's group already have the way to answer to that. Roland group also have way to answer to that. But the others just now, I didn't see it in the others. Why you put P3, P5, or why you put consequences 1, why you put consequences 4. So that one needs to come in the earlier stages when you do the justification here. Okay. Remember where it comes from and how it happens and also what kind of impact it will have will actually answer your question on likelihood and consequences. Of course, you can hand in the assignment that you simply tick 1. I tick this, you tick this, and then that's it, you hand it to me. You will still pass because you've done your risk analysis. But it's not so comfortable, it's not so great, you get what I mean? Yeah. So that is like an A and a B kind of report,
Doctor, regarding the metrics calculation one, is it the one standard, everything to be standard? Meaning there's only 1 to 5 they punya level or 1 to 3 can or what?
1 to 3 can also. 1 to 3 can also. But it's just the way you define it.
Yeah, because we depend on the likelihood or but some people they extend to 5 because of ada jarang-jarang most unlikely lagi, ada unlikely lagi to be happen.
Yeah.
Otherwise it becomes a big.
Minimum is 3 times 3
Okay, doctor.
Those use 3.3 or 5 times 5, I'm fine with either one. Okay, now those people, remember time and cost related. So Roland, the one that with quality and all that, you can take it out. I think the table that you were showing me just now, all the appendix two, that is actually the justification of why you put a 3 and 2 and all that. Okay?
Correct.
So I think it's better that you do something like that in the report to justify why you gave the numbers. And then in the summary, also you have like different column there. Just now I mentioned from risk event to the causes of the risk, okay, to the risk category, because category is where it impacts, you see. Impact time or impact cost, and then the actual consequences. You see, then when you read that 4 column, and that is related to that extra table that you're showing me, and then it all ties in better that way lah. So those tables are that one, the one that you showed me, the kesan thing, with the different thing, that one is just to help you to. I mean, I would use it. If I were you, I would use it as my justification of my report writing. But you don't have to attach all this for every event, because if you do that, I will ask you to put it in the appendix only. Anyone else haven't called in yet? Richard, have you called in already, Richard?
Doctor, I've got a question, doctor.
Wait a second.
Doctor, can I have a question?
Roland, go ahead.
On your last recording, kan, it's about the procurement, about type of contract, kan. Do we need to put our type of contract also inside our punya group assignment, doctor?
No.
We need to tell what kind of contract we are implementing, lah.
That one is in the introduction, no? Later on, when you write the cost, the introduction of your project, I think you can write a little bit on that if you want to, like what kind of procurement method. Is this a traditional procurement method, or is this a design and build project? You know that?
Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
And then after today's recording, you can even put that this project is executed based on design and build. The client is who, the contractor is who, and then the project, is it a BQ contract, or is it a lump sum contract, or is it a remeasurement contract? Okay. And the contractor was selected based on open tendering or proposal, or design, so you can write about that in the early introduction or the background of your project, of your assignment.
Okay, doctor, because this also related to the risk also, the procurement also sometimes causes the risk a lot. Yeah.
Correct, because you have that thing called site possession and approval, that kind of thing. I think that is related, a little bit related to procurement already, yeah.
Okay, doctor, thank you.
But just take out those that are quality related lah. It's nothing wrong lah. You can go up to quality if you want to, but I don't want you to go further in with other things. Otherwise, it'll be too long, the list. I mean, I need you all to finish the project and hand it in to me and get good marks, so I don't need you to go ding dong, all the way to Antarctica and then come back get an A, you see?
Okay.
So I already set the boundary for you to move, so I don't want you to go too far. As long as you got the thing right already. So now I hope that after this assignment, like Roland, now you can see the point in all the doing all the tables and all that lah, huh?
Okay.
Okay, good. I'm finding it quite meaningful lah. This project in that sense for me lah. Sooner or later, if you work for government project, they will ask you to implement risk management plan already. And whatever that you're doing in this assignment, it will form a very good basis for future kind of requirement. I can see that it's being done in KK, Roland,
Actually, doctor, the risk management is one of the must do punya project. Aside from the quality, the risk management always there's a bengkel for the risk management in the early of the project to identify what risk will happen before the things go uncontrolled. So they will spend 3 days of like VE, one of them VE, the quality, the site management, the and also this one lah, risiko. They have report, this one. You
It's
must have
very,
one report.
it's very good, because Sarawak, we're not up to that yet,
Because they also want to implement the latest one is the like Petronas one centralized work programnya everybody so that the update dia punya own portion the work program so the risk is most important because to identify future delay without
Yeah.
waiting for the implementation, so everybody knows there's a delay or the cost anything before it happen.
You see, this is very good because we in Sarawak, from what I understand from JKR Sarawak at the moment, they are focusing on BIM now, but then risk is something that they have been calling and calling and calling, and actually a few times they thought about getting me to do a risk management course with them, but then so many things happen and keep on cancelling and up until now, I can tell you in JKR Sarawak, not many of them know how to do this,
I think the Sega Sarawak should emphasize on the risk so that if there any shortage of fund, they know early before the closing account. Because normally when they already allocated, there's no, like 6 months down the line, there's no response, anything request for additional fund. They close the account, they assume that the budget given is sufficient to finish. But most happen in Sabah like ours, there's a VO, there's a delay and everything, the cost overrun. So when they want to try open back the account, they say already the budget is that one lah. You have to work within the budget. That's very difficult because there's no risk management.
I think this is good lah. Like I said, I think I can see that Sabah punya JKR in that sense you are a lot more
Not
advanced.
JKR Sabah doktor, it's a JKR Federal. JKR Sabah lagi buat dan Sarawak punya. This is JKR Federal. Not JKR Sabah.
Yeah lah. Okay lah, like that. At least now I know the situation of JKR Federal and JKR Sarawak and JKR Sabah. This week Wednesday I was asked to give a talk with IEM on contract on time and delay. You guys want a note or not? I can pass it on to you if you want.
Yes, Doctor, just share. Maybe we can have a sedikit belajar. Because it's very
I'll
important.
open it and share it with you. Then later on, if you are interested, I can post it in a group. I think it was 7 hours CPD. I tell you, this week I talked so much until I also want to. I actually a bit sick of myself already. Actually, I hear my own voice already. I want to vomit now.
It's good, but doctor, you also like an artist, but in lecturing artist lecture.
It's really, really tiring. That day I spoke for 2 hours in the morning on time planning. It's my IEM workshop. EFGHIA. Oh, wrong, please. Here. I gave a 2 hours workshop lah. It was like here, this one. Okay. The first part of the notes was actually on planning, Gantt chart and all that. This is something that Dr. Lee and have went through with you already in this particular main course. And then after that, we had example. We also show examples on this, how to do this network and all that. And then part 2, it was her. This part 2 was actually more on what she has. This part was given by Dr. Lee. So I spoke for 2 hours in the morning, and then she spoke for 2 hours. And in the afternoon, I actually gave a talk on contractual issues. Contractual issues on the part 4 is actually contractual issues on contractual issues in time and delay. So it's about scheduling, commencement or work possession of site, EOT, LAD, and then we also look at how to analyze delays, methods of analyzing delays and granting EOT and all that. So that was, I spoke for about 3 hours in the afternoon. Yeah, so it was very, very tiring. So these are the method of going through it, So yeah, I mean, if you guys are interested, I can pass you the notes lah, But
this is very good, doctor. Yeah. Especially on the granting the EOT, because this is not every engineer knows how to grant EOT. He thought that if weather is 30 days, hujan 30 hari lagi. Actually, this is very wrong, doctor. There's a method to give EOT punya calculation.
So basically, actually, we need to look into these 4 criteria, whether is actually where the delay, who causes the delay, the reason for the delay, and then after that, whether this delay is critical or non-critical, whether this delay is excusable and non-excusable, whether it's compensable, non-compensable, concurrent, non-concurrent. So these are some of the notes here, and then this is reflected onto the notes that we have here about, this is actually I borrowed this from, this example is really good. I borrowed it from one of the paper an academic paper. There's few ways of analyzing delay, from very, very simple, rough way to all the way down to maybe window pen method, which is a little bit more advanced of analyzing delays. So yeah, I mean, I can give you the notes if you want to but like I said, part 1 and part 2, such as time planning, Microsoft and all that, we've already covered in our in your main classes already. Yeah. Okay. So this was a workshop that I had the other day. Yeah. And this morning we had a class on I had a 3 hours class again on suspension of work, and also what else? Suspension of work termination, and also suspension of work termination, valuation of variation, site instructions, and all that. So this is all contract classes. This is actually in our Masters of Science in Engineering Management, which you guys are not covering in your main course. Yeah. Your course are a bit more technical, not so management. Yeah. Okay, so like I said, these are those, if you guys are interested, you can always tinker me. I can just share it with you guys personally. Yeah. All right. But not because I can't share this with everybody, because I'm sure some of you are actually not interested, or you are not in this area, so you don't need to know, you see. As you progress into your future as engineers, slowly you need to get into contract as well, whether you like it or not.
Agree, doctor. As you become senior in your position,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
fail to do your correct decision, if any legal matter, it will come to you on why you make the decision, on what basis.
Exactly.
It costs time, and it costs you time and additional cost to the government or to your employer.
Yeah.
We also happen a case where our punya company got penalized for the mistake by the designer. They call it because you forgot to, it always happen where you have this architect drawing a column and CNS column is different. So when come to the actual site, then the column is bigger than, but the QS pick up the architect column. This is the CNS column, because when do the tender time is very short time, so they just give some preliminary drawings and ask the QS to do some estimation based on kg per meter square punya. Then so many things, when they become actually built, then this happening lah. So they in the end they give us some cost we have to pay for the cut from our punya fee. So it is actually very important on the contract one. Need to know. You don't say bilang you don't need to know just because you're not in the site of the contractually, but as you want to climb to management to make decision, you have to get the top management with the contract, because this is the basis of all your work.
Yes, like what you asked me last week. I actually covered today in suspension of works. Actually, suspension of works, our contractor actually basically, unless it's very specifically written in the contract that he can do suspension of work due to non-payment. Otherwise, most contract will not state that the client don't pay, the contractor can suspend the work. The contractor actually can go for termination of the contract, but they cannot suspend the work, because it is a breach, fundamental breach of the contract if you suspend the work. Only a client, due to reason of national security, due to reason of acts of gods like flooding, earthquake, and all this sort of reason, pandemic, they can suspend their work, and also suspend the work because the contractor has not been doing their role as with due diligence, then they can suspend the work. So contractually, it was allowed that client can suspend the work, but not contractor. if you contractor suspend your work, then you really mati, you know. Many court cases in Malaysia at the moment when the contractor suspend the work, at the end of the day, they got nothing out of it. And whereas client is right, if the client suspend the work, they have to pay you for all the work that has been done. So they are given that right, but then you also are protected because if they suspend, they have to pay you, you see. So to answer your question even more carefully, it's like that. It's actually contractor cannot suspend because there's a very specific clause. The contractor has to work with due diligence. Okay.
Okay, doctor, thank you. Now I know something about suspension.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's it for today, huh? I think some of you are probably rushing to go for lunch. You have a 2 o'clock class with Dr. Detro, is it?
Yeah, doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, doctor, for your
Right. Yep. So we keep in touch. I will put the submission date as a 4th of May, huh?
Thank you very much, doctor.
If
Okay,
anyone of
doctor.
you want to look for me to assess your assignment, after Wednesday next week, I'm a bit better with my time. You can always email me, huh? Okay. And McCurry, I have to give you your feedback maybe after Wednesday, huh? I'm really packed these 2 weeks for some reason. I don't even know why. Okay.
Okay, ba? Yeah, okay, doctor.
Yeah, and
Not
those
to
of
rush
you who are
also.
not doing your RP2, make sure that by the end of the SEM, before the semester starts in June, you all have already finished your methodology. I'm very serious. You don't go ding dong until next SEM also, you are still doing your methodology. Then you'll be crying, okay? Roland, Ngor, Shelley, McCurry, the few of you, Haiza
Okay.
also, I think there's another one here. Okay, there's a few of you. You must go up to your methodology, especially those that stop RP2 one.
Okay, doctor.
Yeah, go back and finish up your methodology before the next SEM start. The next SEM will start, I think, around after your Kaamantan or Gawai. The 3rd and 4th is a registration date, and then I think the following week, straight away that weekend, or the following weekend, we will have our class starting already.
Is it June?
June,
The
yes.
3rd June? 3rd June, okay. Okay.
Yeah. 3rd and 4th is your registration date.
Okay.
Okay. I will remind again later, but just to give you guys an indication. So you have about a month or 2 now to just do your exam and finish up on your RP2 methodology sections, especially for those of you who stop RP2 for this semester. It's not for you to go on a permanent holiday. Don't stop and then later on you really stop. I know McCurry, you're okay because you are under me. I've seen some of your work, so I think you can make it. But the other few, I'm a bit scared because I've been listening from the supervisor. Some of you are like still bye ding donging. Right, just a warning, and especially the 4 of you, Arthur, Johnson, Zulkarnain, and also Marsha. I'm not sure what is Marsha's case now, but Zulkarnain, I heard from Dr. Lee that you're not doing too badly. I haven't followed up on Johnson. Arthur, you're my student. You and I know what's going on. Yeah, so I think you all have to also consider whether properly how you're doing in your RP1, whether you want to continue with RP2 next SEM. Something for you to think about later on, especially some of you who are seriously a borderline case. Okay, I think that's all from me for today.
Doctor, so our RP2,
Okay, doctor.
RP2 is when? The
If
final
I
one?
give you a go
So
ahead, you register for RP2 next SEM,
Okay, so we'll be finished. The RP3 is within this year also, right?
You will finish RP3, like for your case, you are October. That means after June, you only left one RP3 lah.
RP3, so can make it by this year lah, will be finished.
4th SEM. RP3, you will only do it 4th SEM.
Oh, for SEM also. Okay.
October 2022 and you only finish in February,
Next year.
January 2023.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay, doctor. Noted.
Yeah, so Bakari, Roland, Ngor, and also Shelley, you will officially finish yours in January 2023. Only left one RP3 lah. But then the others also, even though you finish your RP3 in August or September, okay, then you're already officially graduating. But I doubt that we're having a graduation ceremony anymore at the end of this year. So most likely is you'll also be graduating at the same time as the rest lah, which is depending on the graduation ceremony lah. Could be depending lah. I mean, like could be February next year ka, or it could be after it could, I know now it's very hard to say because sometimes normally it happens at the end of the year, but because we already have one already this year, so most likely is next year. Is definitely the next one will be next year lah, but just don't know when next year. Yeah. Okay. That's not too much of guessing into that lah. Huh? We take it as it comes. Huh? Mm.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Bye bye.
Okay. See you.
Okay, thank you, doctor.
See you.